What's up, Buttercup? Welcome back to my channel. Today's book review is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This book, a prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy, was my most anticipated read for 2025, and I gave it 4 stars. I couldn't give it 5 stars like all the other books in the Hunger Games world. Yes, I gave The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes 5 stars. I think it was fantastic. I didn't give this particular book, even though I love Haymitch, 5 stars because of the writing. And that seriously hurts my soul, y'all. Yes, it does. A Hunger Games book that's not utter perfection? Okay, well, that hurt. Like I said, it hurt. But it had to be done. And it's not like a 4 star is bad. I'm saying it like it's the worst thing ever. It's not. It's just what happened. And I have some thoughts on that. Because I don't think the writing in this book is on par with the other books. But before I get too deep into my lengthy review and discussion on this novel, I'm going to read the blurb, which is accurate to the story, and we love to see it. When you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Pan Am. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. Back in 12, Haymitch Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances. All he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl he loves. When Haymitch's name is called, he can feel all his dreams break. He's torn from his family and his love, shuttled to the capital with the 3 other District 12 tributes, a young friend who's nearly a sister to him, a compulsive odds maker, and the most stuck-up girl in town. As the games begin, Haymitch understands he's been set up to fail, but there's something in him that wants to fight and have that fight reverberate far beyond the deadly arena. Overall, I enjoyed this novel, or else I wouldn't have given it 4 stars, but it's not perfect like the other 4 books. And I know people don't like the idea of seeing younger versions of the Hunger Games characters in this book, but I knew it was going to happen because enough people want to see Mags, Wirus, Beatty, so on and so forth, that yes, of course, Suzanne Collins, her agent, her editors, the publisher, they're gonna be like, okay, you gotta sneak in some. You could argue that maybe not all of them needed to be in this book, and I'll give you that because there were a lot of throwback characters. But I did think that all of the characters did have at least one solid reason to be in the book, other than them being fan favorites and the publisher wanting that money, because that's really what publishers want. They want the money. So if I have one solid reason why a character from other books are in a prequel, sequel, whatever, it doesn't matter, then I'm fine with it. I know a lot of people want at least 3 to 5 reasons, or else they think that it's just a money grab. I understand. I guess my expectations are low. I was happy to see all of the characters, so that didn't bother me whatsoever, but I understand the argument of people saying it was too much. Totally understand. The 50th Quarter Quell's arena was the most interesting part of this book to me, and I really appreciated all of the thought that went into planning, organizing, and analyzing this arena in Suzanne's mind. It's definitely a grand Hunger Games for Quarter Quell. The idea of offering them all they could need as a trick, because basically the water and the food and most of the plants that are edible are actually deadly. It's very imaginative and definitely psychologically damaging. What's worse, lack of water or starvation? That's hard. Really, you have to find water first, and then you have to find food. No matter what, not even in a fiction novel, everyone needs to find water first, because it takes 3 to 4 days, maybe if you're pushing it 5 days, to die from dehydration from lack of water, versus it can take, depending on a lot of factors, okay, so don't come at me in the comments, depending on a lot of factors, it could take months to die from starvation. However, in this situation, basically all the districts are malnourished unless you're really rich. So this starvation is going to go faster, way faster for the districts, not so much the careers. They have food. So most, hello, I'm trying to be very specific here. Most of the people in many of the districts are starving already, so it is faster for them. And many of them are desperate for any type of food. So this whole quarter quell situation of here's plenty of food and water for you, it's okay. No, it's not. Oh God, here's a bunch of people that just died from eating and drinking what they thought was normal stuff. But you know, that does bring up the topic that Hamish and a couple other kids brought up, because they observe things very well. If something is abundant in a Hunger Games tournament, it's probably not good for you. And yeah, there was abundance of water and food, so don't touch it. Hamish kind of learned the hard way, but I won't go into that because this is light spoilers. I dropped a full star based on the writing issues. That didn't sound like Hamish. Off and on, I got a glimpse of a 16-year-old Hamish, but this writing was simple and bland and aged Hamish down. Like, he was sounding age range 10 to 12, not 16. I don't know what happened there. I wanted way, way more emotional and psychological turmoil, more showing, less telling. You can absolutely show me how devastated he is for like dozens of examples, because this is a devastating world and story. Like, you don't have to tell me he's devastated. Show me he's devastated. Show me he's angry. Show me he's sad. Instead of just telling me with a sentence or two and then moving on. I know Suzanne Collins can do better, way better, because the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and the Hunger Games trilogy is written so well. I am just utterly confused, you all. I don't understand. Was she given a page limit? Perhaps, because so many people complained about how long the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is. I did see lots of that. I also saw the fact that apparently, which pissed me off, she was trying to make President Snow a haughty bad boy who's just misunderstood. And how dare she? Which, I'm gonna be nice, but reading comprehension, do you know what that is? You might need to look into that. That's not the point of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's to show how a young man can become a horrible person, a horrible dictator under a certain set of circumstances, and to not lose your empathy even though the world around you is crumbling. That's the point of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Not what a bunch of people were complaining about, that she was trying to humanize him and for us to fall in love with him. Where are you getting that? I don't know, but okay. So I'm thinking all that pushback from President Snow book, for some odd reason, made Suzanne, her editors, her agent, her publishers, I don't know who, go, let's try and bland it down and make this book shorter. But that makes no sense, because Hamish is not President Snow. They're two completely different people. I don't get it. Like, everyone loves Hamish, but I think possibly a lot of people in, you know, that publishing sphere did not like that pushback, and there was a lot of pushback. for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Haymitch is seen as morally gray, but that's a huge difference between a disturbing dictator and a man who is tortured and is an alcoholic. I know there are some people that don't like Haymitch, but I don't think anyone absolutely despises him and thinks that he's on the same level as President Snow. I don't know anyone like that. I've never seen that anywhere. So the publishers got very spooked. I'm not sure what happened there. Also, maybe was there a deadline? Like a really fast turnaround that she needed to write this book? I don't see that happening either because she's Suzanne Collins. That's why I'm confused. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Comment with your thoughts below, because even though these are young adult age range dystopian novels, the other 4 books do not read like this. It's bland, it's boring. There's a lot of telling, not enough showing, and Haymitch's voice, even in first person present, is not there. It's like he's 10, not 16. Also, there's a bit at the end I don't agree with whatsoever that I think is connected to the blandness of the writing that makes no sense whatsoever for Haymitch due to his devotion to his mother and brother, but I won't go into that deeply because that is a huge spoiler. But honestly, if you come across that whole scene, or kind of like multiple scenes at the end of the book, and it does or doesn't make sense to you, comment with your thoughts below. That was very out of character. It doesn't make sense. And that also dinged down the rating for me as well. There are just things that I go, that's not Haymitch. And the writing absolutely does not help. That's not Haymitch statement and belief, because I know she can create amazing characters. Why'd you do Haymitch dirty? I don't know. I don't know. You see glimpses, like I said a couple minutes back, you do see glimpses of the Haymitch, but it's like, I need the whole thing, not glimpses. Okay. I've seen others mention his reaction to a certain situation and saying that that's not Haymitch at all, and I 100% agree with that. And there's also, unfortunately, quite a few examples of that doesn't seem like a 16-year-old Haymitch. Now, I do briefly want to touch on the use of propaganda, which is done very well in this book. Big plus for Suzanne for that, and how it's used to control huge groups of people. And this is where the light spoilers come in, just so you're aware. It's not huge spoilers. I'm just going over propaganda and how it's used in this particular book. In many Hunger Games, we learn that there's a rebellious plot involved. So the districts and capital citizens from the beginning, even if they're in the minority, voice their concerns about these games at the very least, or outright trying to start up a rebellion to then start up a full-blown revolution. And that doesn't work until Katniss Everdeen comes into play with Peeta. But why and how can the Capitol basically whitewash that whole history that we learn as a backdrop from Sunrise on the Reaping and even the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? There's always been rebellion, but you don't get that sense whatsoever, really. You see hints of it, but you don't get that full scope sense in the Hunger Games trilogy. So why? Well, the Capitol uses propaganda, technology, the media, starvation, torture, and the fear of violence to control everyone, and that includes highly sanitizing and editing the 50th Quarter Quell Hunger Games. Barely a soul knows what truly went down during that Quarter Quell, because the Capitol, even with a bunch of little mishaps, ultimately has control of the narrative, and they have that complete control because they hold the media and all that technology needed to have such a robust media propaganda machine under their fingertips. District 3 is technology and very rebellious compared to the other districts in the capital. You'd think being a rich district, they'd be careers, but no, because they're defiant and they do have a lot of power in their own weird way, which leads to problems in their district fairly often. But I say they could have easily been a career district if they gave into the capital. The capital has absolutely no issue harming, torturing, and killing people. Duh. Okay. And their loved ones as well. And a prime example of that is in this book with BT. And I won't go into it, but yeah, I might have teared up a lot when it came to BT's situation and everything that you learn about BT and his family. And now you might be saying to yourself, this whole propaganda machine, just not possible in the modern world. Like, what would be an example in the 21st century? North Korea. Yes, North Korea. And also China, Russia as well. If you, as an individual, mess up, it's not just you, but your family as well. They'll be punished for your misdeeds, and the capital uses that tactic all the time, just like North Korea uses that tactic all the time. And it doesn't matter if you're poor or if you're rich. President Snow does not shy away from that. I bet a lot of money, if he found out a family member of his was acting out and he couldn't hide it, off with their head. Just off it. Peace out, bye. And possibly a few others connected closely to that particular traitorous family member of his, because he wants to keep the status quo and will do anything to keep all of his people, even family members, even close friends, submissive, while feeding them just enough hope to, for many decades at least, not have a significant uprising. Like I said, there are rebellious spurts, but it's never enough until Katniss Everdeen and Peeta come into play in the 74th and 75th Hunger Games. And that rebelliousness was always under President Snow's nose, slowly growing into a significant amount of the population within the districts, of course, but also in the capital, because you need allies in the capital, or else you're really not gonna get anywhere, because you need to sabotage the capital and that propaganda media machine, among many other things. But really, that media is the focus of control in Pan Am. Thank you so much for watching my lightly spoilery book review and discussion on Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I did enjoy this book, and I do recommend it, though just know going in, the writing is not the same, really, as the other 4 books, and to prepare yourself for that. And Haymitch doesn't sound fully in himself. He sounds younger than he is, so just be aware of that. But I still recommend it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!